I literally cannot think of a transition. So Daniel is caught up with the newest and I'm assuming last season of Only Murders in the Building.
Um, I hope not because it ended on a cliffhanger.
Okay.
At least one more. Though I think they're going to do at least one more season. It sounds like Steve Martin was putting it on Martin Short because he said something like, "Well, when Marty wants to stop doing it, we'll stop doing it."
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yes. So I got caught up on season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. And it just occurred to me that I haven't reviewed any of the other. We haven't. Well, we reviewed season 1, I think, kind of.
And I think you might have talked about one of the seasons in between, but it's a long running show and we do a lot of these episodes. So
yeah,
I wouldn't swear on a stack of Bibles that I'd done it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. So this new season, which I think it dropped back in September, but I finally got around to watching it. Like if you've been watching this show from the beginning, which I will say, of all the streaming shows that are currently going right now, this one has the most consistent release schedule because I think it dropped. I think the first season premiered in 2020, so it has been, or 2021. Okay, so it has been going for 4 or 5 years. So it's actually like a consistent schedule, unlike shows like Stranger Things, which takes 3 or 4 years to do a season to go from one season to the next. But of course, the age of the two lead actors might have something to do with that.
Yeah, that's why I kept. I guess every time I hear that there's a new season coming out, I assume, well, that's got to be the last season. Well, that's got to be the last season. Well, that's got to be the last season.
yeah. Because Steve Martin, I think, is pushing 80. He's right at 80. And Martin Short, I want to say, is mid 70s. Let me look here real quick.
While Daniel does some quick research, if you want to support us, go ahead and give us a quick like on this stream.
Yes, thank you. Yes, of course.
And or replay. Because we actually have seen a nice upswing in viewership because I'm not going to lie, there were a couple of months there where our streams were getting like nothing, and then we were getting like low single digits on some of our episodes. So I don't know if I managed to improve my thumbnail game or if the algorithm giveth or taketh. But
I have no idea. Yeah.
So thanks for watching, and again, if you're enjoying yourself, go and show us a little bit of thumb love. Wait, no, that sounds awful. I'm sorry.
we knew what you meant. But Martin Short's 75. So okay. Yeah, I was right. So if you've been watching this show from the beginning, it has the formula where someone who either lives in the building or is in their building. So they live in this. So there are 3 main characters. Charles, who's played by Steve Martin, he's a has-been TV actor. He was on a cop drama in the 90s called Brazos. And then you've got Oliver, who's played by Martin Short, and he's a failed theater director. And then Selena Gomez's character, Mabel, she's like a listless millennial. But in the first season, they come together because of their shared love for true crime podcasts. And then when one of Mabel's friends in the first season is murdered in their building, they decide to investigate it, and hence where they get their podcast, Only Murders in the Building. And the whole thing shtick is that they only talk about murders that happen in the Arconia. That's the name of their building, which is in the Upper West Side. And it's usually either a resident of the building or someone who happens to be in the building. This season, it of course picked up where the last season left off, where the building's doorman Lester was found. They found him dead in the fountain. in the courtyard of the building. This was right after Oliver, Martin Short's character, gets married to Meryl Streep's character, who she showed up in the third season. So they're looking into. At first, the police say that Lester's death was actually an accident, but they're not buying it. So for those of you who are wondering, Oliver is kind of a cheapskate, so he had a bunch of the cocktail shrimp from his wedding brought up to his apartment, and of course, as he's going through the shrimp, there's actually a severed finger in there. So they're like, "Oh my god, what the hell is this?" And so they have to figure out who's the finger belonged to, and of course, through the course of the investigation. Okay, I think it was in season 2 or season 3. They found out that the Arconia has like all this system of interconnected hallways where you can like slide into different apartments everywhere. This season, they discovered that there is an underground casino underneath the building, and it's being run by this mobster named what was his name? Let me look up that. It's a very Italian name. At the end of the previous season, his wife, who was played by Téa Leoni, shows up and asking for their help to look for him. But they're like, "Oh, well, we only look at murder, things that happen in the building. We don't, we don't investigate outside of it." But then they, of course, they find the casino, and then of course, and they also find his body in the. He owns the dry cleaner that's in the building, and his body's in the dry cleaner. I forgot what was his name. Let me see. It's like Caramucci or something like that. Nicky Cacciamelio. So basically, I won't give away too much from the season as they investigate it, but we have an assortment of new characters. So one of them is actually the mayor of New York, Mayor Tillman, who is played by Keegan-Michael Key of Key and Peele. And then we've got a trio of billionaires who are basically the prime suspects. One of them is his name is Bash, and he's played by Christoph Waltz, who was in he's Tarantino. He's been in a few Tarantino movies like Django Unchained and Inglourious Bastards. He also played Blofeld in the Daniel Craig Bond movies. You've also got Camilla, who is played by Renee Zellweger, Bridget Jones herself, and then
of Diary fame.
Yes, of Diary fame, yeah. And then last but not least, there's the young millennial guy who's the heir to Jay Flug, who's played by he's like I think actually now that I think about it, his name's spelled PFLUG. I wonder if that's like a knock on Pfizer, because he's like an heir to this pharmaceutical company. He's played by Logan Lerman, who was in Percy Jackson, the Percy Jackson movies, and not much else from what I can tell. Oh, he was in Bullet Train. Oh, that's right. You remember the son of the bad guy that Tangerine and Lemon had to bring back, and then he gets killed?
Not very distinctly, no.
Okay, well, it wasn't a very big part, though. That might be why. But yeah, so they're the prime the whole season is it's the typical only murders in the building fashion, where you've got the three of them trying to solve this crime while dealing with some personal issues. Charles is trying out this. He becomes part of a clinical trial to test out a testosterone supplement. And of course, he thinks he's just, I'm now a strapping virile, man, and of course, dealing with his the fact that he keeps getting into relationships with very dangerous women. Like if you watch the previous seasons, that's just like a running theme with him. And then of course Oliver, he's he's a newly married man, but his wife is in New Zealand shooting a TV show. And then of course he's also gotten an offer from somebody to buy his apartment. Which is that actually kind of ties into the main plot of the season. And then and Selena Gomez with Mabel, she an old childhood friend of hers shows up, and she's now like this like big famous pop star, and she's living in the penthouse on the top floor, and she's dealing with the inadequacies of being around her and everything. But yeah, it's got the usual, quirky, quick-witted humor of the previous seasons. I would say Martin Short is probably the character I like the most. Mainly just partially because he reminds me of my late uncle. Very similar personality, and
he feels like he'd be a great uncle, actually.
Yeah.
Not a great dad as seen in the series, but
but he he's very quick-witted, and he throws out these lines that just kind of like oh gee, just kind of like biting satire. And then he also like he'll throw in these anecdotal stories about some celebrity he met or some somebody he knows, and it's just like, okay, well, where did that come from? But yeah, I mean, it's I would say okay, so like I really liked season 1. Season 2 was a little bit of a letdown. Season 3 got better, and then season 4 was really good. I would say this isn't as good as season 4, but I would probably put it in there with season 1, or maybe season 3. It's there are a couple of moments here and there was just like a little. So the problem with some of these streaming services, their streaming shows, is that they'll always have like an episode in there that's kind of like filler. And it's and they're like there's at least one of those episodes in this season, which I kind of understand why they did it, but it kind of detracted from the main story a little too much. But other than that, it's a solid. The season was pretty solid, I think.
Now I wonder if they would actually ever end a season of this without a cliffhanger, considering that's part of the tradition.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. Well, I mean, this season, like, it kind of seemed like they were like the plot in the season actually did have an out for them to end the show. But then they kind of did a Deus Ex Machina on it. So yeah, if they do end it, I don't know how they would do it. The only way I can think of would be like, like if one of them moved away, or one of them passed away, or something like that. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure that this is a very comfortable project for them at this point.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's definitely the flagship show for Hulu. And if you ever listen to a Disney earnings call with Bob Iger, this is the show he constantly mentions all the time as being one of their great successes. So I my guess is Disney's gonna try to milk this show for as much as they can, for as long as they can.
God, can you imagine if one of the two did pass or have to bow out? That they'd be saying, we can get Jim Carrey on board, or just pick another aging actor.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, then it would be terrible, probably.
Yeah. So hopefully somebody over there has some dignity.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, let us hope. Yeah.